Ruler quilting is for everyone, whether you're a home domestic machine quilter or a long arm quilter on a frame or a sit down table. This is part 1 of quilting a star quilt panel. This is a fabric that's been pre-printed with a star design. It has a main star and each corner has secondary stars. So there are 5 stars in total to quilt. We're going to custom quilt it. But first we need to create frames. Frames can be used for additional ruler quilting or free motion. Most of this quilt will be quilted with the STITCHLINE ruler quilting. So we're going to start with stitching a star in the center of the quilt. This blue square, we're going to stitch a star by stitching from the middle of each side of the square to the corner. We're going to make a continuous star doing it that way. So from the middle to the corner, and now from the corner to the middle. And I'm using the special STITCHLINE features that help us create exactly what we want with little to no marking. I'm using the tabs on the ruler to help me position the ruler so that I actually stitch to the corner or the middle of the quilt. So I did put some tick marks on the middle of the square. So when I'm going from the corner to the midpoint, the tab is pointing directly to that tick mark that I put on the square. And I'm rotating the quilt for optimal camera view. I don't necessarily have to rotate it if I wasn't filming it so that you can see what I'm doing. So that's why I'm rotating it. I want you to be able to see what I'm stitching. Ordinarily, you don't have to do that. And just a reminder, even though I'm stitching on a sit-down long arm, this ruler can be used on a home sewing machine. Exactly what I'm doing here can be done on a home sewing machine. The star is finished. Now I'm going to do an echo on the inside of the star. I like to do at least a 1/4 inch border when I'm creating a frame for free motion quilting. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to stitch on the inside of the star a 1/4 inch border. And the only thing I have to do is line up the edge of the ruler with the edge of what I have already stitched. And I'll keep going around and around until I stitch all the sides of the interior of this stitched star. Next, I'm going to work on the interior squares, the 2 red squares. Let's start with some radiating lines from the corner and then back. So I am stitching twice on one area. It's called backtracking. That way, I don't have to stitch in a ditch to get back to the corner, and I don't have to break thread and then have to knot and bury all kinds of threads. So I'm going to do that for each of the corners. I am going to stitch in the ditch. Well, there is no ditch because this is a fabric panel, but just pretend it's a ditch to get to the next corner. Now that I'm there, I'm going to repeat the radiating lines. And I did mark with a pencil. It's hard to see here because they're just small little dots. And that's basically all I needed, was a little dot to let me know where I want to stitch from the corner to the edge of the blue box. So again, I'm using the edge of the ruler and the tab to help me get to each corner and to stitch all the way around the square. Now let's do the outer red square. Stitch the square in a square, right? I'm being careful as much as I can, not to stitch the red thread on the yellow fabric, right? So I'm using the tab to help me know the position of the needle. That's what the tab does. The edge of that tab, I'm making sure it's right on top of the red fabric. Yep. That's how I prevent stitching in the yellow. That tab represents the needle position, the edge of the tab. I'm stitching all the way around, and again, I'm rotating the quilt so that you can see what I'm doing. Now I decided as the fabric starts to shift and move and I start to work my way from the center out, it's important for me to stabilize the quilt. And that's what I'm doing here by stitching around the darker red square before I actually stitch in the triangle. Now I'm calling it a square because it's like a square in a square. If you know the quilt block square in a square, this is what it's like, right? We have these triangles on different sides that when you look at it, it looks like they're placed within a square. So now I'm starting to do some diagonal echoes of the triangle shape, right? The upper triangle shape. It's an echo, but it's not an echo of the exact line. It's a diagonal line. Hopefully that makes sense. I think you understand what I mean. Right? So I'm doing this all the way around for every single triangle. And I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to have some nice diagonal echoes. And again, these are frames for future quilting. So basically, I'm laying down the framework for custom quilting this entire panel. Custom quilting doesn't happen all at once. There's a step-by-step process, and for me, the first part is laying down the framework for the custom quilting. And the straight line quilting with the stitch line ruler did just that. Now the center section is ready for custom quilting part 2. I'm Geraldine Wilkins, the Living Water Quilter. I help quilters go from frustration to fabulous with 2 techniques, free motion quilting and acrylic ruler quilting. And I am excited to share this new acrylic ruler with you. It is an essential ruler to help you master straight line quilting, whether it's straight line with a straight edge or straight lines with the channel, which is fantastic for stitching in the ditch. But that's not all it can do. It can do a whole lot more, and I'm going to show you.